My name is John Boysen. I'd like to thank you for having me here at Travelers. It's a great opportunity to be able to speak with you here at this prestigious company.
Tell me about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I am an organizer. When it comes to things like group projects, immediately the first thing I jump to is scheduling. In other words, knowing deadlines of when the project needs to be done, setting up milestones about the certain points of the project we need to hit, and on top of that, the delegation of tasks that comes with that, knowing who can do what, who would be best at doing what, those sorts of things that come with being a manager or being an organizer. But I know that you can't only be a manager or an organizer in order to be successful. You also have to be a leader, which is why I try and act as a leader as well. Now, the thing about leaders is that they really aspire people to do great work. Managers, they may get the work done, but they're not the ones who create the best work or the great work, which is why I try to take it upon myself to act as a leader of a group. And I do this through trying to emanate the qualities of transformational leadership, namely that of idealized influence. I believe that is one of the biggest parts of that. Idealized influence is the idea that who you are as a person, your ethics, your personality, your skills, all these things build this sort of brick wall of idealized influence of yourself, and people recognize that. People recognize that you have that skill set and that you are this type of person, and that is what makes them want to be a follower of you, what makes them want you to be their leader. Now, I've seen this through your CEO, Jay Fishman. I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal about how many people consider him one of the most humble and ethical people on Wall Street today. And that's part of the reason for Travelers' major success after the financial crisis, is that because they were ethical, because they had this idealized influence CEO, that they were able to be as successful, through this terrible recession that we had. So as a whole, what defines me is the qualities of a transformational leader, but also the execution skills of a manager.
Tell me about a significant accomplishment in your life.
One of the things I'm most proud of throughout my life has been attaining the rank of Eagle in Boy Scouts. Now, if you're not familiar, Eagle Scout is the highest rank in Boy Scouts, and it is most well known for its Eagle projects, which are these projects that Scouts trying to go for Eagle have to design and lead and follow through with and accomplish before they reach the age of 18. Now, my Eagle project was creating adoption baskets for a dog shelter for puppies. Now, I have 2 dogs, so I was very inspired to do this project. It was one of the best experiences of my life, I can say. I learned a lot about leadership, a lot about planning throughout. One of the most significant things I learned was being able to trust your underlings. Now, one of the biggest parts of the project, of my project, was a dog wash that I ran in order to raise money to make the baskets themselves. This involved things like marketing, in other words, making signs, making posters, word of mouth, trying to get the word out about the dog wash. And on top of that, recruitment in a way of getting scouts from my troop to come and help with the poster posting process, the flyer posting, and then also with the dog wash itself. Now, there's a very common feeling a lot of people who've reached the rank of Eagle know of, which is the day or night before of the actual project. Pretty much every Eagle Scout knows that feeling of, oh my gosh, what if no one's going to show up? I had all these people sign up on the mailing list and they said they were going to, but what if nobody does? What if they bail? Now, I had this exact same feeling the night before the dog wash. I was wondering, am I actually going to get any help? Are people going to come? Am I going to be able to raise enough money to actually help the shelter? And I was worried. I was really worried about this. But the next morning, I went to the dog store where we were having the dog wash, right there at 9 a.m., an hour before the dog wash started, and there were already 4 or 5 scouts there, ready to help me. And it was at that moment that I realized that if you just trust in your people that they're going to show up and arrive and help you out when they said they have, instead of being really concentrated on this negative possibility, then things are going to work out great. And it was through that trust throughout the whole rest of the project that I knew I was able to make the project reach its completed form and attain the rank of Eagle.
Tell me about something that you have learned in class.
One of the biggest things I've learned in class has been business strategy. Now, business strategy is not something simple like, oh, where do we want this company to go? There's a lot more to it. And it really starts personally with your values. Your values are what you stand for, your ethical code, things of that nature. Now, once you develop your values, you can start thinking about your mission and your vision. In other words, what do you want this company to do and where do you want it to go? And now once you've established those three things, those three foundations of a business, then you can start looking at your market. Now, a market, you can't attack a market all at once. It's a very large thing. You can't break into an entire market all at once. You have to develop market segments. In other words, for example, think if you were trying to sell cars. You can't sell pickup trucks, economy cars, and luxury cars all at once. You can't get right into that. You have to find one market segment that you want to fall into. And once you've found that market segment, then you start to look within that market segment. In other words, you are looking at the environment of the market segment. And the biggest part of looking at the environment is looking at your competitors. Now, when you look at your competitors, you're going to be looking for two main things. The first one is there something they're missing within that market segment? That could be something that you can use to break into a market segment and do better than your competitors. Similarly, is there something your competitors are doing that you feel that you could do better? And if you feel like you can do better, how do you go about doing that? And that brings you to strategy. Now, in terms of strategy, I know that Travelers runs a stability strategy, which is a strategy that involves very conservative decisions, low risk decisions, and that has really helped them rise to the top as of late after the recession. Now, once you develop those strategies, about 4 to 6 of these strategies, then you start to develop your tactics. In other words, what actions are you going to put into place to make these strategies happen? And once you are using your tactics to apply these strategies throughout your market segment, that's when you have a solid business strategy, and that's what I've learned about business strategy at Temple.